You open one eye. Your attention turns to shouting upstairs, door slamming. Typical. You get up quickly, and a few minutes later, you're outside of your studio. Night 2. Okay. Do we need to get gagging? Is that what they're trying to tell us here? Kind of what it looks like. Let's see. Hold on. I think this guy looks like he's got something interesting to say. He's wearing a beret. The passenger who entered your cab slams the door and stares at you intently. Oh, it's a lady. Are you kidding? That's how you want this to start? A small laugh escapes her, naturally. But of course, if I were to say to you, her voice slightly raspy with an oddly metallic sound, the night you... Could this woman be the judge? 10:46 p.m.? No, the attack took place later. Does that ring a bell? You nod your head. Say nothing. She waggles an accusing finger at you. Last October 27th, you were in this very cab, driving a fare, and you committed a crime. That's right, sir. A crime. Let her go on. I'd spent the whole day working like an idiot for that rotten newspaper. Do you have any idea what I do for a living? Town crier? She heaves a sigh. Very funny. Her voice is increasingly aggressive. You can feel the anger bubbling inside her. I'm a sub-editor, Mr. Taxi driver. I correct mistakes that a bunch of moron journalists make. There isn't a single one, not one, who knows how to write a proper sentence. I'd had it, really had it, and on the night of October 27th, you cut me off. Interrupt her. I'm careless. I'm simply telling you my story, my problem. You cut me off the night of the accident. I almost died that night. She grinds her teeth. You shudder. I crashed my car, my boyfriend's car, that is. The same guy who made yet another comment about women drivers. The neighbors called the police that night. I made such a scene. To think the guy dares call himself a feminist. She pauses for dramatic effect, and a disturbing smile spreads over her face. Say nothing. Her voice is suddenly noticeably quieter, almost fragile. The next day, no more boyfriend. No more car. I messed up a job interview with a major news outlet, a paper where people know how to write, where they follow, and for just a minute, I could have stopped correcting copy for a bunch of morons. She takes a deep breath. But all because of you, because of your cab. Everything changed the night of October 27th. A sad, faraway look comes over her. My life has never been the same since. But her voice is bursting with fury and hatred. Forced to go live with my mother while I went apartment hunting in this rotten city where tiny studios cost an arm and a leg, so I started looking for you. The back of your neck breaks into a sweat. You can feel cold, clammy droplets about to drip down your spine. Colleagues into giving me your number? A droplet of sweat starts sliding down your back. Why did I get this fare? Then I found your address, your first one, that is. You shiver as the drop reaches your boxers. But that's your business. What matters is I did eventually get your other address, the real one. You've started shaking. At first, I admit, I was planning on going to your place. She shrugs her shoulders, her voice softens a little. Just maybe to spit in your face or something like that. And then I thought to myself, no, Ludivine, so you're going to apologize. Go on, give it your all. Take your time, take a deep breath. She breathes in deeply, then exhales. Like that. Tell her about the attack. I'm sorry, but I don't remember that night. No, I've forgotten what happened that night. She freezes. A few minutes after I met you, I was attacked. Attacked by the judge, the serial killer. It's you. You survived. Yeah. A host of conflicting feelings flicker: surprise, anger, the desire to slap you. Then she falls back against the car seat, all her anger somehow gone. I didn't know. The police wanted to keep it all a secret. I didn't see the killer's face. The newspaper where I work, they're looking for you. We have a reporter looking for you. The last few months have been difficult for you. I apologize still. I'm gonna apologize. I'm still sorry. Even if I don't remember anything, even though I was attacked, it doesn't change anything about... You can't find the right words. Maybe because you imagine for a moment a normal night, how things should have been. Past Paris, a tourist heading to Mauritius? Or something? I don't know. I'm not great with French words, I'm sorry. And you, your cigarettes, cheap packs of beer, the little radio next to your bed. Your passenger clears her throat. She's noticed your mind is elsewhere. Thanks. All her anger has evaporated. No more looks that could kill, simmering rage, or grinding teeth. My boyfriend was a jerk anyway, and then his job great. She gives you a little smile. I tend to get all worked up about things. It's a little too far. In Paris, I guess we about being nice to each other and being polite, and for a taxi driver, you're kind of sweet. She gives a short laugh. This is what I suggest. I'm gonna exit the cab. I'm gonna go for a little walk in the cold and get my mind off things. And then when I get home, I'll destroy all the information I have on you. Is that okay? You nod yes. Thank you. This word echoes for a minute through the taxi. Your passenger reaches for the door. The door opens, then closes. You're alone in the taxi, your head spinning slightly as if you'd had a drink. Just one, but something really strong. You briefly try to remember that night. Nothing. Nothing but a vague impression of something behind you. The killer's silhouette. A fleeting presence. You shake your head. There's nothing more than before. If only you had turned around, everything would have been easier. If you had seen the face of... All at once you start the cab. Alright, time to find the next fare. That was a mistake. Don't go by the picture. Let's go strictly by this. Oh, that wasn't even the person that I was trying to pick up. That's the person I'm trying to pick up. Is that her again, though? Okay, I've already picked you up. I haven't picked you up. A woman crosses the street in front of you carrying a baby in her arms. As you drive by, you realize it's actually a big... Okay, I missed that. Charles Degas, make it snappy. The passenger who settles into the back seat could be a male model. Sean Penn back here. He asks you to take him to Charles Degas Airport. His voice is mild and pleasant. You sense your passenger wants to talk about the killer. It's simple. Since the first murder, everyone thinks they know something. Everyone thinks they saw something, and this passenger is no exception. You watch him in the rearview mirror as he adjusts his clothes, checks his breath, obviously primping. You drive people to the airport all the time. They bring along a suitcase or a bouquet of flowers. Your passenger doesn't have either. He's looking at himself in the rearview mirror. His lips part and he runs his tongue over his teeth. Nothing stuck in my teeth, right? You shake your head no. You wonder why he's going to the airport. You're wondering why I'm going to the airport, aren't you? Yes. I could tell you were curious. I'd tell you, but it's a secret. His voice has changed, as if you were about to deliver a speech. Women today are too smart for us men. Too smart. He crinkles his nose as if there were a bad smell in the cab. There are dozens of books on how to get lucky, on how to score, but they all make the same big mistake. Do you know what that mistake I'm talking about? I don't see why that's a problem. After all, deer don't write books on hunting, do they? He smirks. Oh, let me tell you. All those books about hitting on women never tell you where the best hunting grounds are. Gross, dude, gross. A theatrical pause. Airports. Another theatrical pause. It's brilliant, right? Women in airports are lonely, emotional, and available. On the street, they're always in a hurry, don't have any time. At the movies or museums, they don't want to be disturbed. But at the airport, he's clearly very proud of himself. You remain silent. He crinkles. Smell in your cab. You sniff too. Sorry, I don't smell anything. He shrugs, then goes back to his monologue. Personally, I'd prefer older let send their kids to their exes. Accompanied minors counter to get information about a late flight or a gate change. Look at the flight information, pretend to be worried. My sister, I say. I'm waiting for my little sister. She's never been to Paris before. I'm going to take her to the Louvre. She wants to look, she wants to work in fashion someday. She's already very talented. I hope everything is okay. She had a good flight. She means the world to me. She's my half-sister, but I love her like a sister. A smile, he takes another sniff, glances around the cab, then picks up where he left off. The half-sister line, it works every time. Divorced parents, remarried, every time. He bursts out laughing. I'm going to go ahead and interrupt him there, because this is getting really gross and weird. Excuse me, do you mind if I ask you a personal question? No, of course, not at all. Anything to help you understand my game plan. Do you really need to go through all that? I'm not sure I understand what you're getting at. Well, you're rather attractive. And? Is it really necessary trouble to, scam and pick up women? Don't women, just like you? That's besides the point. It's more efficient, more productive. I go on the make twice a week, and I end up with dates for several weeks, and it's also a lot easier. It's less... how should I put it? Personal. I know it won't ever get serious, and that's what I'm looking for. You see what I mean? Nod my head. I'm just gonna nod and leave it at that. I'm telling you, you should take my advice. It's a piece of cake. You just need to come up with a good line or two. They'll fall for it. It's really bizarre, that smell of shit. It seems to be following me wherever I go. Yeah, it's probably because you're full of shit. He walks away. Under the sole of his right shoe, you catch sight of a dark brown spot. Sure enough, the passenger disappears into the airport. You roll down the back seat window and start up the cab. Lots of different ways. Mostly because who needs to be, socially manipulative like that? That's nasty. Where are we going? Am I going to need to get gas? I'm actually going to need to get gas, aren't I? Oh, dang. I got to go really far to get gas. I should have checked all of this, right? I should have checked my gas meter. What is this? Doesn't matter right now. I really need to get gas. This is kind of cool. I'm enjoying the Paris cab life. You pull over and stop at a gas station. Right. The fluorescent lights irritate your eyes, and the smell of pee is wafting up from the space in between the pumps. Ugh. It's self-service here. You pay directly at the pump. The mini-mart over there, it must sell newspapers. The person behind the counter must see and hear things. Might be worth asking a couple questions. You don't quite know why, but Parisian gas stations are always frightening. You check out your surroundings before getting out of the taxi. Let's go into the shop. You walk into the mini-mart. Behind the counter, a student doing his homework lazily raises his head. Welcome. He sighs beyond, tired of repeating the same sentence over and over. To La Belle Pompeii. Okay, talk with the clerk. Buy this stuff. I don't know what any of this is. Cash, cash, cash. Oh, these are grab the newspaper. Thank you. And talk with the guy. I was wondering, you immediately bring up the serial killer. The cashier looks up, obviously excited by the topic. Everybody is, of course. Is that it? That's it? I just get a little dossier from him? Not a word from the guy behind the counter. You, on the other hand, curse automatically as you put a foot out into the freezing cold. Okay. Make sure you fill the tank. Leave the gas station. You get into your taxi and drive away. Cool. Do I have fares nearby? Who are you? As you drive by a kebab restaurant, you're overcome by the wafting smell of meat and fat. You're hungry. I'm going to Tunis, Patricia Hossein. A beautiful woman climbs into your cab. There's something sensual and comforting about her. No, I just missed it. But don't worry, I'm taking a cab. Anyhow, I just wanted you to know. For a minute you think she's talking to herself, but she leans over and whispers her address to you. I think he really enjoyed it today. As you start the cab, you notice a hands-free headset practically hidden in her thick head of hair. I'll massage his feet tomorrow and I'll let you do the rest. A small laugh escapes her. Or the other way around, sure. And, Cruz, it's normal to feel a little awkward at first, or uncomfortable. I mean, not knowing what to do. But you'll see, a couple more days and you'll have the hang of it. Anyhow, you should get to bed now. Her phone call is over. She catches your eye in the rearview mirror and bursts out laughing. You look shocked. Not at all. Your passenger crosses her legs and gives you a playful pout. Tss, tss, I don't believe you. You're letting your imagination run wild. What exactly were you imagining? That I'm on my way home from a threesome or something? Could be. She lowers her gaze and turns her head, serious all of a sudden. But I'm not. The truth isn't that rosy. Actually, I was at my son's house. Excuse me? Your passenger roars with laughter. It seems to be doing her a world of good. No, sorry, you don't understand. I've been taking care of him since his accident. Nurse. His accident? That's right. He was supposed to meet his father for a rugby match. A truck on the right as he was leaving the highway. The driver didn't see him. Her voice trails off. I don't know how he met, but that's really rough. And all that just to see a rugby match. Her smile is playful, full of life. Get him interested in soccer, and see what happened. See what happened? I see what she's saying. I apologize if I'm struggling with the inflection. A smile of dry amusement flickers across your passenger's face. Anyway, he's been in a coma for weeks now. Grade 2. Not a total vegetable, but not all that hardy either. So I had to move him to his place. Cruz and I are taking care of him now. Cruz? His fiancée. A lovely girl. Your passenger puts her hand to her mouth to smother a giggle. Totally inhibited, but sweet, very religious. She prays in Spanish at his bedside every night. They've been going out for 2 years now, and I still don't think they've... She blushes. Well, you know. A brief silence. You find yourself trying to think of something to say. How are you holding up? Your passenger doesn't answer right away. You're afraid you've embarrassed her, but her face looks relaxed. I work in palliative care. You know, I spent the last 8 years of my life taking care of people who are going to die. The only question worth asking is, how long before they die? It helps keep things in perspective. In my son's case, there's still hope, and at least do it anyhow. For one thing, there's the day-to-day stuff, nails, hair, beard. It all grows like crazy, you know. There's a lot of maintenance, like a gardener. Because believe me, if Tituan wakes up looking and smelling like a werewolf, we'll never hear the end of it. A smile escapes you. Your passenger sees it in the rearview mirror and is clearly pleased. But the biggest risk is not being able to move. Our bodies are meant to move. I know it's hard to believe when our alarm clocks go off, but it's true. Our blood circulation stops working correctly, our skin gets cold, loses all its elasticity. So we have to massage him as often as we can. And there are bed sores. Do you know what bed sores are? I think so. In the hospital, there are a lot of patients who are still conscious and who have bed sores. Their bodies are racked with pain. It's like being skinned alive. The worst part is we have to change their bandages twice a day. Talk about brave. Working in the hospital is hard. The work, it's pretty But in Tituan's case, it's different. I don't have a choice. It has to be done. And actually, I'm happy. We can't even react when I touch him. So taking care of him is just my way of showing him I love him. That's a good thing, isn't it? Yes, I think it is. I think it's a very good thing. Pretty odd, huh? But that's how it goes. You're past. Okay, Patricia, enough of that depressing stuff. Let me tell you something funny. Earlier tonight, when Cruz and I were watching Tituan, not exactly a pleasure cruise, my son is well over 6 feet tall, and Cruz is a cross between a matchstick and a Q-tip, so I was managing as best I could, rolling him onto one side and then the other. She was trying to help through though the truth is it's pretty hard for her to take. I mean, it's all new to her, it can't be that much fun. So she was muttering religious mumbo-jumbo to herself in Spanish, Dios mío, and whatnot. And just as I was rolling enormous, once you start to laugh, your passenger joins in. The two of you enjoy a good long laugh. After a while, your passenger manages to catch her breath. A big ol' heart on. She turned bright red, then she pulled the sheet up over him as fast as she could. Your passenger marks a short pause to emphasize what's coming. It looked even worse. Just like Casper the Ghost. Peals of warm laughter fill the air. For a moment you are happy, as if a weight has been lifted. You pay the fare. Thanks for the conversation. The ride went by really fast. She reaches for the door, then stops. You can sense she's really on edge. It's good to be able to talk. It's pretty unusual in Paris to meet someone so warm. You have a good night. A slight nod, the door carefully, then walks away. Your eye follows her as she climbs the steps. As you start the cab, you catch sight of something on the back seat. A Kleenex. You wriggle around to pick it up. Read it? You unfold the handkerchief. You see the word Patricia and a phone number written on the inside. You look up at the building and smile. You notice a newspaper on the back seat. Your last passenger must have left it behind. Or the one before. Didn't I buy a newspaper? You grab it and put it away. Could come in handy. You turn the key in the ignition and drive away. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm really liking this game. It's pretty fun. Like, vibey and chill. A lot of reading. Throat is feeling it, but it's pretty fun. Is this a dude in a Santa suit? I got it. Let's go get the dude in the Santa suit. That's what it looks like, anyway. Then we'll get this person with the earbuds if we have time. Before the night ends. Santa. Literally Santa. Champs-Élysées, I think. Yeah? Oh god, it's a drunk French Santa. Your next passenger smells like beer. Oh, great. No, it's even worse. It's like every single fiber of his Santa suit has been soaking in a keg. Come on, dash away! His breath is 96% brandy. Your eyes parked somewhere in the Champs-Élysées on... shit. The name of the street is... His head is spinning and he's... Impasse! It'll come back to me. You start driving and suddenly wonder how you ask your passenger... Wait. How to ask your passenger if he has enough money to cover the fare. You glance back at your passenger. He's mumbling to himself, but you can't quite make out what he's saying. Christmas is over, so why is he even still dressed up as Santa? What is the suit for? He turns to look at you, wide-eyed. Well, yeah, the Santa suit. Silence. More silence. Is he still wearing a costume? This is no costume, kid. This is what I wear to work. Just like you know? He points at his clothes. You don't dress like that in real life, do you now? He stares with you, kid. He lowers his voice. He's confiding in you. After working my abs, I get monumentally wasted. I'm sorry for this accent. I have no idea what accent this is. It's just random drunk European Santa. Sorry. He guffaws. Here in Paris, there are a bunch of bistros perfect for such an occasion. No one talks to you and they have white wine so dry it eats away at the inside of your mouth. And so many different types of brandy, pear brandy, cognac. He closes his eyes in delight. And sometimes I order just one eeny-weeny beer to cleanse the palate. He's almost whispering. Okay, it's usually not one of them fancy microbrews there. He jumps. Oops, but don't tell anyone, okay? I found out Santa Claus thought beer here tasted like peace. He laughs, a sparkling laugh. When he stops, it's just to throw out non-committally. Anyway, you can't say anything anymore. Honestly, with all the trouble I go to, people should just leave me the fuck alone. All those fair weather act a little stupid toy. Oh hey, speaking of snot-nosed kids, what is with the man back? You could get a book and he'd go on about his whole life all starry-eyed. Oh, Santa brought me a book. It was such a good book. I love the book. But today's little whiners, what a nice fucking gal. Doll, but they don't like anything. They had just a whole month's wages. How can you possibly make them happy after that? How? He's staring at you, waiting for you to answer. No idea. He raises his hand. At least you're honest enough. Honesty. He closes his eyes like he's taking a moment's rest. You want me to tell you what they really want? What kids these days want are machine guns and dolls whose hair you can fix. He seems to have calmed down for a bit, but it was just an illusion. Speaking of which, both girls and boys like those dolls whose hair you can fix. He twitches his mustache in silence. Back when I still made toys for kids, I can tell you they didn't care less about them. Couldn't give a damn. They just wanted to have fun, play, laugh, and forget that their parents were losers. Fuck, that's the idiots. Putting kids into this world whose those guys haven't got to quiet. Because there's not much of it left. He pauses. Now, I can't say it's all bad. I don't have as many polar bears coming into my yard. Damn nasty beasts, vicious, mean. I'm not sad to be rid of them. He heaves a long sigh through his beard. Before, things were different. Tears form at the corners of his eyes. Shit, I can't talk about the past without crying like a little girl. He throws you a sideways glance. No need to stare. You don't even have time to react, and he starts back into his rant. I remember you, you know. To tell the truth, I remember everyone, every single person. You were an angry one, so terribly angry. And your letters, your handwriting, who decipher. Don't worry, though, the elves handle all that for me. You could hear a hint of disgust in his voice when he brought up the elves. Otherwise, I wouldn't have time to do nothing. Yeah. You were just furious. It's like someone punched you in the stomach. Your brother was giving you hell. Someone is wrenching your gut right now. Man, what an... He suddenly thinks of something and stops talking. His gaze wanders outside. Yeah, anyway, let's talk about something else. How do you know all that? Wait, no, don't react. Don't react. I'm not gonna say anything. You feel relieved to have some distance from that subject. Is really Santa? You can't forget the pain. You jump when your passenger suddenly starts talking again. Wait, I think we're almost there. Slow it down a bit, kid. He searches outside for... You looking for your car? My car? He bursts out laughing. Yeah, right, I work out of a convertible. Roof open and everything. He guffaws again. It shouldn't be too hard to spot. There's a sleigh and a couple half-dozen reindeer. He heaves a funny sigh. I'm sure it's like in an alley somewhere. Oh, right over there. Turn right. You obey and go up a street you were on a few seconds before. A few meters down. Oh, shit. It was right here. Drive around the block. You turn around. In back, your passenger is mumbling. I'm gonna have to get one of those. Yes, it's helping me find my sleigh more easily. You eventually pull over in an alley, no light, a few empty office buildings, and some trash cans that haven't been emptied for days. Kid, sorry about before. I didn't mean, you know, to bring up any sore points. He pays his fare. Watch your back, kid, slams the door. He slips on the wet sidewalk in the alley. Stay right here and just wait for him. You sit for a moment, watching him. At the end of the alley, he starts rummaging through a pile of boxes, pushes a trash can on wheels aside, and disappears. Stay a bit longer. A few minutes go by, and nothing. You turn the key and start driving again. You open the window for a second, hoping to get rid of the alcohol fumes. Something tells you they'll stick around for a while. No jingle bells? No nothing? What? Come on. Give me some goddamn Miracle on 30th Street shit. Here, Night Call. I'm giving you my A-game voice. Alright, let's go to this person. Do I have enough gas for that? Is that what that's telling me? Or do I have time? I don't know why they're fading. Oh, Alicia Clefs again. Birds, I can sense them. They're calling me. I'm gonna refuse this one. I'm sorry, Alicia. I can't do it again. I just can't do it right now. You there. Milo Reacher. I need a cab, quick! Okay, I got you. You pull up in front of the American Embassy. Or a contact with a private company. The door opens. You take an immediate liking to the guy who gets in. You find him somehow reassuring, like a lost tourist. He babbles something in English. You have to listen hard to make out the address. Sorry, I'm just back in Paris. I've forgotten my manners. He flashes you a sparkling smile. His voice is tinged with a slight American accent. You turn the key. You're surprised to hear him use the familiar tu form straight off the bat. Hussein. Nice to meet you, Hussein. Hussein. Huisin? I don't know, it's French. He stares at you intently for a moment. My name is... He nods slowly, as if disheartened. If I reveal my name, I'll be left with no other choice. I'll have to kill you. He pauses, way too long to be joking. His face darkens. It's a different man on the seat behind you. And then his face creases into a grin. Hey, amigo, I'm joking. I work for the CIA, that's all. The CIA? Yeah, the CIA, you know, Jason Bourne and all that. The spy business. You're a spy? Is that why your French is so good? I speak 8 other languages, too. You give a low whistle. Not bad for a Yankee, eh? He bursts into laughter. No wonder I'm a spy, eh, amigo? A wave of sadness comes over your passenger. You can read it in his gestures, in the look on his face. You cast a glance in the rearview. Tough night? Just like any other highs are. It's just that. He sits bolt upright as if someone had struck him on the back of the neck. I don't have my supervision, kids. One of them is... He stops short. He doesn't have to finish. You know where the sentence ends. You slump heavily against your seat and focus on the road. On automatic pilot, your mind a blank. What would you do if your children disappeared? Something awful. You can't even imagine it. The wrenching sorrow of a parent who loses a child. The first time I saw him, his voice has gone up a notch. You almost jump. He was beating up a black market supplier. The guy had sold him shoe polish that smelled like shit, and his business depended on shoe polish. He was always stationed around Krakow Cloth Hall. His voice trails off. Bogdan. He wasn't the first kid I ever supervised, it's just there was something different about him. He caught on fast, amigo, know what I mean? He could think on his feet. He knew when to get tough and when to play dead. Bogdan was like a little, oh my god, dude, what the fuck? Smart, cunning, fearless, brave, and real comic book hero. So he's using some weird fucking racist language to describe this kid that he parlayed into CIA service, I'm guessing? He breaks off again. You really cared for him? A great deal. He reminded me of myself. Like I said, amigo, I sensed it immediately, the first time I set eyes on him. He was beating up this supplier, and I went over and handed him a Mars bar. That's what we always gave them back then. We gave them, geez Louise, dude. We had about 5 minutes for a serious talk before the sugar kicked in. That was back in '88. Poland was no longer part of the USSR. The Soviets had lost. What an amazing country, amigo. You ever been there? Never. That's too bad. You arrive at your destination, a nondescript building, all glass and metal. Every person is unique. Your passenger reaches into his pocket, fishing for the fare. Some are as cool as concrete, others fragile like cut glass. He pulls out a bill and hands it to you. The poles are made of steel. His voice falters, his eyes glaze over. How did he die? He feels for something in his vest, the idea of having his gun giving you quite a start. That kid entered my life like a jingle. You see what I mean? He's struggling to find the right metaphor. Life, it's like a radio. There are the songs, the interviews, the ads, and the jingles. The jingles are short, but they stick in your head. You can't get rid of them. You nod assent without thinking. Your client grins. The police got him. I trained the kid, then he went and got himself whacked. Through his own fault, too. I thought he was smarter. How can you say that it was his own fault when you just said the police killed him? It's been 30 years, but Bogdan, or whatever, that kid could have made something of himself. And he let himself get caught pickpocketing a couple of Americans, and he made a run for it. He opens the cab door, the cold air rushes in. I taught that kid everything I knew. Everything. Well, so much for him. He exits the cab, the door slams with a resounding echo. You sit, stock still, taking in his parting words. 100% reaffirmed in your disdain for all forms of goddamn governmental authority, because what a goddamn fucking train wreck of a human being that was. And then you start up the cab. No better way to get your mind off. I can't tell. Okay, is this gas or is this time? This is time. So I don't have a whole lot of time for my next fare, so I'm just going to do this one. Out of the corner of your eye, you see two bums in an alleyway. It looks like they're fighting. You think about Herv. Goties. Your next passenger is heavily pregnant. You go to help her inside, but she waves you away with a hand. I'm fine. I'm not going to do the French accent for everyone, I swear. Things just take a bit longer these days. She settles in, adjusting her coat around her huge belly. You gun the accelerator and set off. Instinctively, you find yourself driving more deliberately, not slower, just carefully. You regard the woman in the mirror. She's staring out the window with a 1,000-yard stare, her hands wringing themselves around each other like a... Your French is pretty good. She glances at the back of your head. I know. Where are you from? She sighs deeply. It's obviously not the first time she's heard the question, sorry. I'm from the UK. Wait, Manchester. I'm from Manchester. I'm not going to do that one. I mean, that's in the UK, but the distinction is important, especially these days. Say the UK and everyone assumes you're from London. I fucking hate London. You've driven a fair few British people over the years. Most don't speak a word of French. Many had an odd sense of pride in their lack of language ability, but accent aside, the young woman behind you is fluent. I didn't mean to offend. She looks away from the window and into your eyes. You try to smile. Her face softens. Don't worry about it. You get used to it. There are worse things you could have opened up with. She shifts uncomfortably. How far along are you? It's normal for cabbies to ask extremely when people like to talk. Helps the ride pass, passing over her face. 7 months. You have any idea how hard it is to keep going for a piss in a crowded shopping center, carrying another human around like a fucking personal bus service? Sigh. It sounds like hot air escaping a kettle. It's pretty fucking hard. Her tone is harsh, but looking back, you see her hand stroking her belly with a small smile lingering briefly on her lips. She's a feisty one, that's for sure. That's her French side. Not sure it's half. I'm the one doing the heavy lifting. But definitely a good third. Assisted an EU passport. And he needed to get out of the UK after everything that happened. You mean the political situation? She sighs. As soon as she's spoken, her mouth folds into Brexit. Another grimace. She kicks the shit out of my fucking womb. She rubs her belly and mumbles a few soothing words. A fucking B-word. I mean, no one thought it was actually going to happen. You'd see the campaigners out on the street, remain and leave. You'd pass them off as fanatics or something. I wasn't into. Something gets you thinking. Ahmed was more into it than I was. Kept bringing home these flyers. Liked or something. You look back and notice her hand is going to her mouth. She starts plucking nervously at her bottom lip. Nothing was ever positive. Every argument, every headline, non-stop fucking negativity. Fucked if we stay, fucked if we leave. Promises from every side, numbers, predictions, posters, billboard, vote, no word of a... People at work kept getting into slanging matches about this bit or that bit. How could you possibly think versus you don't know what you're talking about. And when the result came back, there was about 20 minutes of celebration. Then the brakes kicked on, something harsh. Walking to work that morning, you couldn't help but judge everyone. Like, I wonder which way she... There were a couple of fights at work, swinging all over the place. If there's one thing insecure fucking men need, it's something to throw punches about. How did you feel? Like everyone else, I suppose. Confused. By the afternoon, you could see none of the fucks in London knew what to do. To be jumping up and down about winning, and because that's exactly what they did. And fuck all's happened, except everyone's even more scared. Things got real bad after that. Ahmed had a few run-ins with the Brexiters, mobs with Union Jack hoodies and wigs, so yeah, I know all about that. Most just told him to fuck off home. He could deal with that. He'd have the same over here. So it sounds like there's a lot of racial unrest going on all around the world. Interesting, huh? But one group, we were together one time, and a group of them told me to fuck. First time I'd ever been glad to see a cop. So yeah, we fucked off. Wasn't worth it over there. Ahmed's jobs had dried up anyway. No one wanted to hire a foreigner. Been staying with a lot over here ever since. Spare room. His mum don't bless him. Can know. She shifts again, the seat creaking under her weight. That's a sound you seldom hear. What would you have done? If you lot ever have a Frexit vote or whatever, how would you vote? Oh God, fuck, I don't know France near. That's a hard one. I don't know. A good thing I don't know is an option. I don't really know what would happen either way, so how could I make a reasoning? Then again, but you just pretend it wasn't happening? Close your eyes? Hope every choice for you? Nah, mate, nah. Her accent thickens as she goes on. One way or the other, you have to take a side. Nothing irritates me more than those cheery fucks in the middle telling everyone just to get on. That's not people, is it? We ain't designed to get on. Put two people on an island with enough food for both, and within a half a fucking year, one of them would kick the shit out of the other over some biscuits. Problem wasn't the voter guessing. Problem was the people asking the question, making shit out of negative worldview. I disagree about that last part, but I do see where she's coming with the political situation. Using photos from Africa saying they were immigrants wanting into the UK, putting made-up numbers on the side of fancy red buses, telling us horror stories about rioting and civil war. That were the problem. Not our fault if we had to guess. It was their fault for asking the wrong fucking question. Fair over to you. Sorry about all that. No, I understand. Yeah. At least over here, everything at every fucking moment. She moves to leave. You go to help again, but she smiles a refusal at you. Really, it's okay. But I appreciate the offer. Makes me feel welcome. A few moments later, she waddles slowly to a door. Her hands continue to twist themselves into shapes as she waits for an answer until finally she disappears inside. You sigh and set off into the night. I think that's almost the end for the night, right? Do I have to... I've got one more fare. Okay, one more fare. Let's do this one last fare before we gotta go home. Oh, and then there's home for the night. Gotcha. I missed the last train. I'm going to St. Ken. Alright, Cater. You pull up to the sidewalk to pick up the passenger who ordered a cab. You can just make him out, surrounded by 5 or 6 cops, an all too familiar scene. Every so often, the low, ominous tones of an officer's voice make it to your ear. The circle of cops breaks up. You see your passenger. He heads over to the cab and gets in. Stops. He gives you his address and you start the car. The passenger stares out the window at the passing road as if to calm himself. You take a quick look in the rearview mirror. What was that all about? Nothing. The usual bullshit. He has a youthful-sounding voice, a little immature. He's barely 20, maybe younger. What a fucking pain in the ass! Can't go out without getting screwed by each and every one of those son of bitches. If you're not wearing a goddamn beret, if you happen to be wearing sweatpants, then yeah, right, you're a fucking hood. He smirks wryly, then raises his... He sighs. Shove your aunt's cock up your freaking ass, buddy. Always the same old thing, isn't it? The passenger looks at you and lets out a bitter laugh. You can say that again. Even the Arabs treat us like shit when they're wearing a uniform. A slow smile spreads over his face. Oof, the weird racism of some of these passengers, I swear. And you know what's worse? He pulls a paperback out of his jacket pocket. The Count of Monte Cristo. Cater told you he was reading The Count of Monte Cristo. I just got an achievement for that. By Alexi, okay? They wouldn't believe it was my pocket right away. In the back. Breaks. He looks up. Yeah, it's... Well, it's kind of like a You know, or except that it takes place 200 years ago. And yeah, it's good. It really sing his revenge, big time. The guy's pretty messed up. He catches your eye in the rearview mirror. He realizes he's not, it's my girlfriend who gave it to me. She likes Dumas. Yeah, I think so. She's into all that historical stuff. Cater. To me, it was a real drag at first. She forced me a little, and then I realized that Monte Cristo, he's one of us. I mean, his story, it's like, but I introduced her to new stuff too. There are these texts, you know, like rap lyrics that she really likes. You should see her putting on a show and all, but the truth is, she actually likes it. It's the same thing with reading, right? I mean, it had to be properly explained to me. I had to want to try it. And that was it, man. I was on my way. He looks down. A short time later, you pull up to the ad. That's so LCD display. Really? Can I? Yep. You know more things. Wait, you know more about your clients. Check the Passadex for there. Okay, things don't go so well at first with Lou Divine. Yep, she was really mad at me. You confessed to Lou Divine that it was a good idea. Let's look at the thing. There was a spent bullet case at crime scene 4, which I'm assuming is this one. Victim number 3, Colonel and Community. Were you that? Medical examiner. Victim number 3 was a respectable. Wait, killed Jerry. Still don't know quite who all of them 3. Killer left a message in chalk on first 3 crime scenes. That's these ones that we think we're thinking, right? What else do we have here? Not enough time. Oh shit, I don't have enough time to look at all this stuff? That's cool, okay. Interesting, so you only get enough to do the... One of them, these would... hand, you wipe your tired face. Pull open the sofa bed. You collapse onto the mattress. Of the day streets, the path. Your brain is running at full speed. You can tell you need like it'll help. Your eyes close. Right, a tad bitter, very strong. It disappears as quickly as it came, and you fall asleep. Night 2.